Our next presenter is Dr. Aaron Ahuvia, a somewhat unusual marketing professor whose research includes a focus on peace, love, and happiness. Really. He is regarded as the world's leading authority on the psychology of a certain type of love, namely the love people have for objects or activities. A published study ranked him amongst the world's 25 most influential researchers studying consumption. He is quoted in Time, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and has appeared on National Public Radio, talk shows, as well as the Oprah Winfrey Show. I'm dying to ask him whether that was the show where they handed out cars. Dr. Ahuvia's talk is titled, The Paradox of Non-Interpersonal Love.
People tell me that they love all kinds of different things. They may love their home, as we see here. They love to fly. This gentleman loves his car so much he's taking it on a dinner date. However, other people tell me they don't think any of this is really love. In their view, you can only truly, authentically love another person. Well, it turns out that these skeptics are, in a sense, right. But it also turns out that all the people who tell me about loving their car, loving their cell phone, those people are right too. So how can they both be right at the same time? The earliest animals, the prehistoric fish, did not have very much of a love life. The way that they would reproduce, the female lays a lot of eggs, the male fertilizes them, and they both swim off, their parenting duties done for the rest of their year, I guess. Some appeal to that process. Later animals, however, would develop a different reproductive strategy. They have far fewer offspring, but they start to evolve brain mechanisms that get them to, in a sense, love their offspring. They feed their children, they protect their children, they take care of their children and sometimes their mate in ways that don't make sense always for them as an individual for the short term, but make sense because their children carry on their genes to the next generation. Later still, primates, and especially humans, are able to expand this not just to the animals that have our same genes, but to friends. And that makes sense because if you're my friend, you know that I will help you, but I know that you will help me. So we've got this bilateral relationship. None of that makes sense for loving your cell phone. Your cell phone is not going to carry on your genes like your children do. And it doesn't matter how affectionate you feel towards your cell phone, that's not going to change its behavior towards you. So none of this really makes sense. Furthermore, our brain is very, very good at automatically sorting things into two piles. It sorts objects into the object sort of group and people into the people group, and it thinks about these things quite differently. Your brain is able to make this distinction, and the objects we think about through, quote, objectifying them, right? We treat them like objects, which means we don't have a lot of emotional connection to them. We don't care about them in that way. How is it then the case that we love objects? Well, we love objects and activities because we start thinking about them as if they were people. And there's three ways this happens. The first is anthropomorphization. So if the object looks like a person or sounds like a person, we think about it in some ways as if it was a person. Second, some objects we symbolically attach to another person, like my wedding ring. I think of it in my connection to my wife. And so I love her, and it takes part in some of that love. The third are objects or activities that become part of our own identity. We're people, and if we see the object or the activity as something that makes us who we are, it becomes attached to us, and we think about it as if, in a certain sense, it was a person as a result of that. So the paradox of non-interpersonal love is that people, in a sense, can only genuinely love other people. However, we love a lot of objects and activities because our brains at a non-conscious level are applying some of the same psychological mechanisms that we use when we think about people, also applying these to these objects.